That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. That's the question.
Well, we're both aware of a center and from a center, you say.
That's it.
And this center seems to be the, as you say, the fragment that is dominating or attempting to dominate.
That center is the dominating factor.
Yes. In other words,
which is in itself a fragment.
yes, I mean that the center is well, it seems to be the center of your being, you know, as it were, the center of the ego or the self, which one might think is the whole.
Quite.
Because it's in contact with everything, you see. In other words,
would you say having a center is the very cause of fragmentation?
yes, I would say that, although at first sight it seems quite different to me.
At first sight it seems, and I think that's important, the difference between at first sight it doesn't seem that way.
Well, at first sight it seems that the center is what is organizing everything into a whole.
Right.
Yes.
In other words, one feels one wants a center to bring everything to a whole, to stop the fragmentation.
Yes, try to bring about integration, try to
Wholeness, yeah.
make wholeness and all that.
Right. If you feel the fragmentation, and then you center here and you say, I can see all the fragmentations, but that's still center.
No, but I'm asking whether when there is a center, doesn't it make for fragments?
That I see. I see what you're saying, but I'm trying to take it from what is the experience when there is fragmentation? There doesn't seem to be a center.
Contradiction.
Right. But it doesn't feel like a center.
No, contradiction. So when there are fragments,
right.
I am aware of the fragments because of contradiction.
Right.
Because opposing factors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mean by contradiction also conflict?
Conflict.
I mean,
out of contradiction, there is conflict.
Right.
Then I am aware that there are fragments. I'm working in an area of fragments.
Right. Right. But then, yes, and then I'm not aware of the fact that I have in fact got a center. That's the self-deception right there.
No, I think, don't you think, if I may suggest, that where there is conflict, then only you are aware of a conflict, of contradiction. Am I? That is, one is aware only when there is conflict. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next awareness, the next movement is conflict arises out of conflict. Conflict arises out of fragmentation. Opposing elements, opposing desires, opposing wishes, opposing thoughts.
But are you saying that these oppose first before one is aware? And then suddenly you're aware through the unpleasantness or the pain of the opposition, that the conflict is unpleasant.
Yes, conflict is unpleasant, and therefore one is aware
that something is wrong.
Wrong, yes.
Yes, or something is wrong, not just simply wrong, but wrong with the whole thing.
Whole thing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
After all, self-consciousness, when you are aware of yourself only when there is pain or intense pleasure. Otherwise, you are not aware of yourself.
Right.
So, fragmentation with its conflict brings this sense of I'm aware I'm in conflict. Otherwise there is no awareness.
Right.
I wonder if I'm...
Yes, go ahead. You're saying that the very fragmentation itself breeds the center.
Breeds the center.
And the center has bred the fragmentation, so it's like a...
Yes, back and forth.
Right.
Well, I mean, would you say that the thought in itself before there's a center breeds conflict? I mean,
Thought?
Or is there a thought before a center?
Is there... Oh, thought before the center.
Yeah. I mean, one view is to say that the center and thought are always coexistent and one breeds the other.
One breeds the other, quite.
Or the other view is to say that there might be thought first and that produces conflict and then that produces a center.
Now, let's go into that a little bit.
That's good. That's a good one, huh?
Does thought exist before conflict?
Before a center.
Before the center, which center only, one is aware of the center only when there is conflict.
Yeah, because that comes in apparently to try to bring about wholeness again. You see, to take charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
The center tries to take charge or try to create wholeness.
Yes, to bring all the factors together.
But center itself is a fragment.
Yes, but it doesn't know that.
And of course, it doesn't know, but it thinks it can bring all the fragments together, make it a whole. So Dr. Bohm is asking a question, which is, did thought exist before the center,
Right.
or the center existed before the thought,
Or the two together.
or the two together?
Right. Right. Or he's also asking, does thought create the center?
Thought creates the center.
That would be the action, the very creation in the, I mean, sort of an after effect of the thought. In other words, is the organism, is the production of thought the very cause of a center? That, I think, carries it.
Yes, let's be clear on this point
Right.
too. Are we asking, did thought create the center?
Yes, and there was therefore a kind of thought before a center.
Yeah, thought before the center, that's it.
Which came into contradiction.
Yes, did the thought create the center, or the center existed before the thought?
Right.
Or else the center was, that's a view which is common. I mean, people think the center is me, who was first.
Me is the first.
And then I began to think, right?
Yes.
Or
I think thought exists before the center.
Yes. Well, then we have to ask the question, I don't know if we want to get into it at this minute, but then we have to ask the question of why is there thought? Or what is thought?
Oh, that's a different matter. But
Right.
Do we go into that?
that might be a long story.
Yeah, that's a long story. I don't think that's for now.
Yeah.
But we have to get at that.
No, but
Let's stay with what we started
yes,
with.
we started out asking, can we talk about the wholeness of life?
Right.
How can one be aware of that wholeness if one is fragmented? That's the next question.
Well,
you can't be aware of the whole if I'm only looking through a small hole.
right, right.
Huh?
Right. But on the other hand, in actuality, you are the whole.
That is a theory.
Is it? That's right.
A
Of
supposition,
course it is.
yes.
When you are fragmented, how can you assume that you are the whole?
Well, that's a wonderful. I mean, that's an issue because how am I to know I'm fragmented?
That's what we are asking.
Yes.
When are you aware that you are fragmented?
Yes.
Only when there is conflict.
Right. That's right.
When the two opposing desires, opposing elements of movements,
Right.
then there is conflict. And you say, "Well, then you have pain or whatever it is, and then you become conscious."
Right. Right. But at those moments, it oftentimes happens that you don't want to let go of the. I mean, it's like you feel your fragmentation.
That's a different matter.
Right.
What we are asking is, can the fragment dissolve itself,
Yeah. Okay.
and then only it's possible to see the whole? You cannot be fragmented and then wish for the whole.
Right.
Then it's merely,
All you really know is your fragmentation.
that's all we know.
That's right.
Therefore, let's stick to that
Okay.
and not beat round the bush and
Right.
say, well, let's talk about the whole and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the